But you had to bring up the captain's hat, didn't you? He's just run out to get it, and yes, there he is now. Yes. Now he can answer.
Now I'm ready.
Yes. So
I didn't have my thinking cap on.
All right, so just off the top, just wanted to make sure that you guys help us get the word out that we have the free expansion weekend going on now. Two things. Free expansion, and yes, you can get to keep it for all time, the Prophecy of Ankhet. At the same time, yeah, it's a pretty good deal.
What?
Also, you may or may not have heard that we're giving away an Ankhet cash in-game, which you claim on the Rift store. It's on the upper right side of the Rift store. That also must be claimed before midnight Pacific Daylight Time on Sunday, the 14th. Something to keep in mind is if you or your friends have been putting off downloading Rift, remember it's a big game. Therefore, start downloading it now so that you log in before that deadline, because we can't grant dozens of these things after the fact. But it's a great thing. We have seen tremendous numbers of players come back into game. I just checked with my boss, Alex, the VP of Marketing. He said, can I tell him how many people we got back just yesterday? And he says, no, we cannot release sensitive business information like that. All I can say is a lot more than we expected, which is fantastic. And I was just on the forums and I saw somebody say, you know, I logged in and there was nobody around, so I logged out again. And the immediate post after that was, where did you log in? Because I logged in and was immediately overrun with people. It's great to see so many people in game again. Keep in mind that with a lot of people returning to the game or bringing people fresh in new for the first time because they get this free stuff, we're going to need your help in the in-game chats. Help your fellow player out. It's a big game. It's a complicated game, and people will have questions. I've had such a great time in game over the last couple of days, just running around on my characters, answering questions and so on. You're also going to see me in game as Brasse more often. I had one person who threatened to report me for impersonating a GM, and I said, that's okay. I'm not a GM anyway, just a community person. But when you see Brasse in game, Brasse at Greybriar, that's me. Seriously.
They were going to write you to tell you that someone is being you.
Well, they were going to petition CS to have me banned for life, and I thought, oh, well, that's cool. Then I'll have a holiday. Anyway, I don't want to waste too much time. CaptainCursor.
Hello.
Our lore guy. As you may recall, last week on the LoreStream, we had a really good time asking you guys some really, really difficult questions, but we also have several pages of questions that were sent in by probably the three most hardcore lore people in game, and I am talking about Samuraiko, who is also known as Dark Respite, as well as Mizuki Ayu and her sister Lorska. So we're going to get to that, and you don't even have to look at us through this. We're going to entertain you because guess what just went live on PTS? The Predator, which is one of the Primalist souls. Just remember that if you invest in the Primalist pack, you will get all of these new Primalist souls that are currently under development when they come out. Are they going out with 4.2 or?
I believe so, but I'm
or somewhere around the same time. So Predator is on test now, and CaptainCursor is going to be playing that. We'll see if that distracts him from answering the questions. Okay, go ahead. So log on in. We'll switch to the game screen, and I will start pestering you with questions. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the Predator?
The Predator? Sure, I'll play my Predator. I named him Car.
Everything that CaptainCursor says has exclamation points.
You have to put it together in all exclamation points. It's the rule. All right, so I'm going to be playing Instant Adventure. So if you do hop on PTS, just join the Instant Adventure queue.
Yeah,
and we will play together. The Predator is apparently a burst soul. Oh, what do I do? Kill awakened slaves. So it is has a lot of DPS in a burst, and then it calms down a bit. Yeah. So it's good for open world.
Leon Hearts, are the Primalist souls going to get lore like the Ascended souls? As a matter of fact, you may or may not recall when the Primalists first came out, there were some really great stories written about them that I had a lot of fun with too. and this is the guy who's responsible for that. So I think we should say, are we going to get some cool stories for the new Primalist souls? Just nod.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yes. I am working on the content for Vostagar Peaks, so there may not be time to also do the lore for the souls. But I think if it misses on launch, I'll see about putting in books. What?
Turn
What?
to the right.
What?
To the right.
What?
To the right.
What?
Okay, head down
what?
there. Is that a shiny? Ah! You have to pick those up.
I have to pick
There's
those up.
a
Is
law.
that the rule? Okay.
Yes. There.
Okay.
You can't bypass them.
But who's going to buy it on the auction house on the PTS?
Nobody. You just have to pick it up because it's a matter of principle.
No, but see, here's the thing. I can't. Where is it? Where did that thing go? Okay, so yeah, the serum injector. Okay, this is one that I didn't write. I didn't waste an hour trying to come up with the exact right pun or the proper mathematical reference for each of them.
Oh, good Lord, yes.
But when I see so many of these, I'm like, I can't look at it anymore.
I cannot stop collecting artifacts, even though I
just
have
can't.
so many. I'm still nowhere near finishing some of the big sets. Okay, so without further ado, Samuraiko, our Dark Respite, we're going to start asking her questions here. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, this
Go
is
for
gonna be
it.
good. While in St. Tyrannus, the Ascended talks to one of the Lorehounds, about various aspects of Talaran and Ascended life. Shi-Ming, Port Sion, Mythosia, etc. Were these semi-veiled potshots at the players who've asked these exact lore questions over the years?
Oh no!
You would never make
not
fun
at
of
all.
anyone.
I would never use repeated questions on the boards or Twitter in any of the quests or writing in Rift. That would be not at all.
Okay, so the answer is no. Of course he did.
Of course, people keep asking for Shi-Ming, which was honestly something that I put in to try to make the world feel a little bigger in one little book, and then promptly forgot about it. And then people read the book and they just kept asking, and yeah. So the title of that actual questionnaire, I think, was "You will never get to the Shi-Ming Empire." I believe.
Okay. All right.
But that's just the lore. That's just the Lorehounds and the Ascended's opinion.
But okay, so here's the thing. When you first start lying, which is essentially what storytelling is, they just start compounding and developing lives of their own.
Yes.
So I'm kind of curious. Have you ever had sort of a throwaway concept that ended up being a critical storyline or a critical story?
There has been tons of throwaway concepts to see if people are interested in it. A lot of times I will put out something as just a reference and see if anyone picks up on it, and if they don't, then I just let it lie there. And if they pick up on it, I'll be like, oh, excellent, they got it, let's go with it.
We totally have to have an island of Shi-Ming now. You know that.
No, that will never happen.
You know, you can't say never.
Well, okay, you can't say never. You're
every
right,
time
right.
a dev says never, it happens.
Never, ever, 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 ever happened.
Okay.
And
All right, got it. Second question. The gods of the Vigil were sealed outside the ward around Talara. However, when the Ascended travel to the plane of water, they're no longer on Talara, and you sometimes hear in Margle Palace what sounds like the 5 gods of the Vigil, I am the sword, I am the land, etc. Does this mean the Guardians now have a way to communicate with the gods once they're off Talara? For example, maybe within the River of Souls, the LoreStream, or one of the other planes?
Were those actually the gods, or was it just a dream? Sometimes that's hard to tell, especially when you get to beings as powerful as the gods who created the universe and raised the Ascended. And it also means that they're a lot more mysterious than your average creature or planar lord that sits around monologuing all the time. So one of the things I definitely like doing is keeping a sense of mystery about the gods of Talara, because if they told you exactly what they wanted to do, or exactly what to do, or you just had a line that was unambiguous, game over, man.
So what you're saying is that we might wake up one morning and find out that all of Talara was just a dream.
No, I'm
Oh.
no.
Good.
What I'm saying is the gods of the vigil are going to be mysterious as long as possible.
Ah, okay. Well, the follow-up question to that was, will we ever find the gods of the vigil? And what will that mean for Talara when we do?
I think that we'll have to see how long this journey goes.
Okay.
I think I don't ever you won't ever have the gods as a creature to fight unless they are a nefarious type
Okay.
that has been changing states. Well, does that mean you'll get to stab Aya in the face? Maybe one day.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Defiance will ever be able to get together in a raid and kill the goddess of love, Marielton. Because that would be terrible.
Well, it would be terrible, but there are people who just really, what does she drop?
Yeah,
Give me
exactly.
the fat nudes!
And that's one reason for that, in a sense.
Now, you made reference to depends on how long this journey goes, and that brings me back to something where people are. All right, guys. Rift recently celebrated its 6th anniversary. There are MMOs out there that have been around for even longer than that, and for every single one of these MMOs, you always get the doomsayers who are saying, "Oh, that's it. That's the final nail in the coffin," or "Oh, that's for sure. That's the last thing that we'll ever see now. This is now a dead game. It's going away." You know what? I'm here to tell you, Rift is not going away anytime soon. There are a tremendous number of people still playing this game, and if you don't see them, it's because they're spread all over the place. I love the fact that we can hop servers and join each other on other servers now. That
or you
has
can
made
go
a
into your
huge difference.
dimension. Or you can go to the PTS and join my...
Oh yes, join his instant adventure group. All right, so let's see. Samuraiko also asks, as Ascended, we have 4 souls active at any one time. The host player character plus the 3 that give us our powers. Can we get some more information on what it's like from a lore perspective?
I think it often manifests differently for different Ascended. In fantasy literature, you have lots of different archetypes. Some people are just driven, and maybe the souls just manifest as a sense of purpose or a sense of duty if you're playing like a warrior or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you are a cleric that just hears voices and whispers and has conversations with these different souls who express advice into it. And I don't think that having a canonical way that this manifests in the Ascended, who at this point is nigh unto a demigod in power, wrestling with creatures from the beginning of time, taking down dragons, giving noogies to devils, and
Wait. Giving noogies to devils?
Oh, that has to have happened.
Is that a skill set in a specific soul?
I think it is.
All right, giving noogies to devils, only in Rift. It is really an interesting part of the lore that I think a lot of people, because they're in a hurry to create their character and get into game and start leveling up, I think it's probably a part of lore that a lot of people overlook.
Well, sometimes they just think about it as your class.
Right.
And that works. That's not a wrong way to play it. But if you do want to express some aspect of it, that tool is there. Or just don't think about it and you have your mission, and maybe that mission is to get as much loots as possible. And that's also fine. Hey!
I think...
Whoa!
Oh, interesting. I think that when I role-play my characters, I think I might have to start having some internal conversations with my souls.
That's always
really fun.
I like writing crazy talk.
Okay, let's see. The next one is part lore, part mechanics. Oh, okay. Now that Port Sion is being retired as a warfront, might we expect to see quests on that map? Maybe a series of sliver quests showing the fall of Port Sion when Alsbeth corrupted its barrier and Zareth sacrificed to seal away the evil.
So that is totally a possibility if that fits into the content pipeline and the content plan, but
Okay.
it's not on the plan right now.
So he just said totally a possibility. Please do not start spamming us with questions about when this is going to be released. Because I think that totally a possibility means I think we all think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's technically possible, and if that fits in with something that we're going to do,
I think it's a great idea.
I love reusing content, and sometimes that works if like art is busy doing something that's going to take longer, but design has some time, and we need a place to take a story. We used Port Scion as part of the Nightmare Quest because it was a map that we could use that served to do specific type of content, and we knew players hadn't been there, so we used that there. It's not on the in the world because hooking that up would be problematic.
Right.
And so it really depends on where we're going with the open world content or with the adventures. So it might appear, but it's not on the plan right now.
And for the person making fun of us reusing content, have you ever been to Disneyland? They use reuse content all the time, and it's always magnificent. So we intend to use it as long as people are enjoying it. Can Ascended have children? And do Ascended ever actually age? I can see why the Defiants might not if they're crafted with Source Stone, but what about the Guardians? Related to the above, have any of the gods ever dallied? Ooh, there's a word for you. Have they ever dallied with a mortal and had children, or had children with one another?
Yes, I think the gods have dallied. I think we have made reference to demigods and the like, or powerful creatures that were born of the gods. Whether the Ascended can have children, that is a problematic question to represent in game, because we don't have child models, and that's why there's been no children running around in the game. Oh my god, am I flying? Oh no. But I don't think it would be improper to roleplay that. But remember the prophecy of the Phoenix from Gedlow Badlands. If you have immortal creatures having immortal babies, that just leads to infinity over time.
Okay.
So perhaps I would do, if I was telling a story about this, I would probably have the children of Ascended not necessarily be Ascended themselves, but that is kind of sad.
That would be kind of sad, but so that's something that has not yet been addressed.
It probably will not be explored officially, mainly because we don't have the closest thing we have to a child asset is the baby in the basket. And the only time I think that was used is the worst father in the world in Moonshade, who had you go off and get his potatoes first, and then was like, "Oh yeah, my child has been stolen by fairies. Maybe if it's not a bother,
okay,
I haven't gone after them. I've just been sitting here farming."
And that's when people go, "Child? What's a child?"
There's a really creepy baby in a basket.
Okay. A really creepy baby in a basket. Go find it in game. Can an Ascended ever become a messenger? Or is that only for immortals? Which, technically, the Ascended kinda sorta are, until Regulus or Teth strips away their ascension.
So, I don't think that Ascended are able to become a messenger. Messengers are a different kind of imprint on reality than a mortal being is. I don't think you ever see what a messenger truly is. I think you see
you see their representation.
A representation of this aspect of the divine pushing in on the mortal or planar realms, and it's not something that one. It's not a job pathway going up.
Okay.
However, I do think that as the Ascended become more and more powerful, and we invent more and more stuff to put on you, you will get more and more amazing looking. And if you want to represent that as your the view of your ascension. So everyone who has the wings on their back, maybe it is a representative as your touch of the divine, or the bird wings that you genetically engineered if you happen to be defiant. And I don't think that is an improper way of looking at your journey up through the levels and your heroic adventure through weirder and weirder places. Yeah.
Mac PTS asked a little while ago, is it too late to join Rift and still do decently and get to high levels? You can definitely. You can definitely.
Oh my God!
Do it. I think probably every month and a half I start a new character, and it's surprising how fast I can get them geared up and have them take part in meaningful content. So no, you should definitely just dive right in and play.
Dive in, join. If getting to the high level early is your concern, we have in-game ways of doing that.
Yeah, you can always buy a boost, and I prefer to go with the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I still haven't seen all of the zones as I've been leveling up my characters, which is crazy. Okay, so the last question from Dark Respite. Going from the lore books, the original name for the continent of Mathosia was Tyr. How come that changed? Also, there seems to be some conflicting info as to when Port Sion was built. I swear in one lore book it said that it was the traditional seat for the second son of the Mathis line, and in another book that Zareth built it himself.
So Tyr was an older name that fell out of fashion. And was not something that was used much in the lore and what characters had said in Chocolate Rift. So when we had to label.
Wait. For people who might not be familiar, can you please define Chocolate Rift?
Oh, so when we made Storm Legion, we started talking about Vanilla Rift, and people said, no, Vanilla refers to some other game.
Oh, okay.
This is so much better, it's chocolate.
Got it.
So,
thank you.
Chocolate Rift. I don't even know what I'm doing here. Collect Thontic seals in the courtyard. Oh, those were those seals over here. Sorry, people who I badgered into coming into adventure with me.
All you people, please make sure he finishes this instant adventure because he's clearly distracted.
So Tyr was a name that was used in one or two books, but wasn't commonly used anywhere else and didn't have much recognition other than people like Samuraiko who actually dug deep into the lore. So when it came time to name the continent, we used the more modern name for the continent, which was Mathosia, because at the time the Mathosian kingdom had recently ruled most of that continent.
Okay, so we've almost got, and we have to finish the second part of that question, but we still have a billion more to go, so we're going to have to speed up here. It's my fault. When Port Sion was built, was it the traditional seat for the second son of the Mathis line, or did Zareth build it himself?
I think Zareth improved the city that was there. That it wasn't quite as spectacular, and yeah.
Okay. All right then. So both are true. Now we're going to switch to the questions that were sent in by Mizuki Ayu and her sister Lorska. Do Atrophinius and Shyla have any embarrassing nicknames for Tassowil? Are you serious? This is CaptainCursor. Of course there are embarrassing nicknames.
I think after the adventures in Scatherin, she calls him Steppy. Because he stepped on her so many times.
Got it.
Remounted. Yes. I don't think they made too embarrassing of a nickname for Tassowil, because up until he's been kind of young, and generally, while you don't mind embarrassing your children, you don't want to saddle them with a name that is super embarrassing.
That's nice.
Also, they've been kind of circumspect in some ways about their relationship, so I don't think they've been getting completely cutesy-poo out in public.
So the next one goes back to the question of sexuality in Rift.
Oh.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Burnpuss says Garn is pureblood from Asda line. Does this mean Maleforge reproduced asexually or mated with another of Asda's children? There are many whelps of each dragon in the dendrome, and we know Greenscale had a mate who gave birth. Are any of these considered pureblood?
So recently on YouTube, there's this great series, Crash Course by PBS,
Okay.
and they started doing a mythology series, which I absolutely love. And one of the things that they do on there is they put out, whenever they talk about certain mythological things, they do kind of like a warning up on the screen. So warning, talk of incest.
Got it.
The dragons from Asda's line, when they say pure blood, it probably means that it was with a sibling or cousin or someone else from that line.
Okay.
But these are mythological dragons, so genetics was never really a thing so
Right.
much. Oh, we get to do this. This is a fun one.
All right. Let's see. What are the lifespans of all the races like? Do long-lived races age quickly from birth to maturity and then slow aging, or are they tiny, helpless children for a long time too?
Iconically, elves are the longest lived, and that is the case in Rift.
Okay.
Dwarves are long lived, but nowhere near as long as elves. And children age at a reasonable rate, maybe a little slower, but nowhere in the way of centuries. Because I just think it would be terrible to be a teenager for centuries. So I'm not going to write that.
Okay. Do High Elves and Kalari have a Rithart-esque coming of age ceremony like the Tuatha, albeit with less blood magic?
I think that they have definitely, the Kalari have probably kept it longer. I would have to delve into some of the Ember Isle lore, which actually I was not the one who wrote any of that other than the name of FarClan. That was Miss Doom Cookie back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
As well as the team that was making it, like Dark Moon.
Wow, cool.
But High Elves, I think, have retained a ceremony, but it has not been quite as important or defining in that it, corrupts them to the extent that the Tuatha did.
Okay. Do Bami hold their Ethian heritage as highly as their Shalastiri heritage?
Well, Ushakel sure does. No,
she's a special case all around.
The Bami are more proud of their Shalastiri thing, and thinking back on people who were smaller and less awesome is not quite the interest. That said, if you have a Bami who totally admires the F, it's a new time with the Defiance, and I'm just talking about the ones that have been in Plain Touched Wilds.
Gotcha. In the Plain Touched Wilds, despite the overall disrepair that the Bami cities are in, some clans seem to do better than others. Has Bami society always had this imbalance, or were all clans once relatively equal?
No, clans are definitely, some are up, some are down. They go through periods of being better or worse based on just history and time, leadership,
and
whims of fate. These things happen when we and even when you look at Plain Touched Wilds, the ones that are in more disrepair, some of them are just better. Like Court has all those sorcerers.
Right.
Yes, their town is full of snakes, but
Every town has its little ups and downs, I suppose.
I wasted all my cooldowns on this guy. But there are always going to be imbalances in every group.
Okay, and because the Bami race began with the mixing of Shalastiri and the ancient F, are all children of an interracial relationship involving a Bami considered Bami, or are there specific qualities that are looked for in a child to be considered Bami?
I think they tend to be Bami. And
That would make some sense.
And in fact, that if you look at like the Rizuden, who are mixtures of human and infernal parentage, it tends to mostly lead to a Rizuden child. That said, if you are doing some role play and you want to have your eth chloromancer find a way to create children that look more eth from the union, pretty much anything is possible in Magic. Really, if you'll notice that theme of my answers, I don't want to step on your role play.
And I actually quite like that. I found it very easy to make my own story in Rift without being too hemmed in by very strict lore guidelines.
Well, when I originally started doing writing and design for RPGs, I was of the opposite view. I wanted a very strict lore that everyone had to adhere to and everything. But have fun with it. Use the story as a guide. Use the story as a way of inspiring your role play. But if it's going to hamper you in what you want to do and play, let's not step on people's fun. Let's have fun.
Oh, so here we go. Here's okay, we love player feedback, and you know what? Nobody agrees on what's great. Dark Demon wants to know, when is Crucia making a comeback? To which Dark Respite goes, oh god, it's not more Crucia! Is Dark Demon right? Is Crucia gonna come back sometime?
I thought we totally announced
Did we?
all that stuff.
Did
We put all these Storm Legion giant birds.
Well, we showed off some art that certainly did have some Storm Legion stuff, but it's
Didn't we show off a T-Rex properly feathered in Storm Legion armor?
Yes, but
Bougie warfowls walking across the plains, stepping on all opposition. All hail Crucia!
Dark Respite, I think the answer is yep. All right.
Okay, so Sona Miona, don't lust over the incarnation of fascism. It's unseemly.
Oh my god, that's terrible. Next question. Do the Shalistiri have their own language, and if so, was it passed to the Bami, or did they generate their own tongue from Shalistiri as a bit of a bridge language?
The Bami, so a lot of the Bami words are actually based on Mongolian words, and when the Bami were created, Ms. Doomcookie took that as their basis for their culture.
Interesting.
And then I tried my best to dive in and continue that. I think I'm a little more tolerant of some of the weird words and superfluous H's. So I would say that the Shalistiri's language ends up being even more Mongolian than that, and that is the basis of a lot of their words, even though all of this is just English and some cultural influences.
Right. Okay.
So in the context of the story, that is how I would view where the Shalistiri's language influence comes from, is all of those superfluous H's you see all over the proper nouns in Plaintext Wilds.
If Eth arrived in Razadeh. Oh, Razadeh. If Eth arrived in Razadeh Canyon to stay with the Bami, what happened to them after the wilds were taken?
They all died, and
Sad.
there's I think a nightmare artifact set or a poison artifact set that details the elves, the dwarves, the Eth, the Mythosians that all died. And I wanted to explore that more, but it's just one of those production things that
You just haven't had the time to
there
get
were
to it.
just the space wasn't there in telling the stories to go there, and it just fell off, which always happens. So there's always like a ton more stuff that not even that I wanted to produce in game, but that I wanted to tell, but got cut before the planning was even done.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but I think I did put it in an artifact set.
Due to exposure to the rifts and attuning their souls to the planes, are Ascended closer to planar beings than to native Talarans?
Yeah.
Okay, that was simple.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, they are.
Okay. Now we go into more game mechanics versus lore.
Oh.
Oh, yes, yes.
Oh
yes, yes.
my.
Is the ability to change your race and sex and facial structure at will at the barbershop strictly a quality of life game mechanic, or can Ascended request alterations when they receive a new body? In that vein, if an Ascended were scarred before Ascension, would they still have the scar? Do Ascended bodies scar?
I would think that all of that stuff is the magic that doesn't make it into a soul that is like a game for the game mechanics. So like the polymorphs and glamours and all this, which we have in Rift.
Yep.
So when you go to the barbershop, if you're just doing it temporary, you've been glamored for a bit. Or if you're there and you're like, you know what, I want to change my character Car here into a elven female, polymorph away, and that is Car's new identity because we live in a magical world. And we have wizards and fairies that can change stuff. So this is what happens.
All right, and for Doom 8589, who asked what kind of a game Rift is, it's an MMORPG, definitely fantasy-based, and right now is a really great time to try it out.
It's got a little bit of science fiction.
It does.
A little bit.
And it's almost steampunky in some areas.
I call it spellpunk.
It's spellpunk.
No one else has picked up on that.
Spellpunk is great. Okay, so it's a spellpunk game, but download it now. Get in game this weekend before midnight on Sunday, and you get the expansion for free, which is really terrific. Okay, is it presumed that no matter how long you spend in a zone, that your Ascended has spent X amount of Y they're questing for the official timeline of events? For example, spent 2 years in Duskin, despite the fact that you did quests for a month in Wilt.
So yeah, all of the... Oh my god, it's this Rift. Oh, feed that caterpillar!
Oh, that's awesome. Heimlich!
So...
Can you look up? I want to see his head.
Hello.
I have not run into his
Hello, have you feed me some stuff? I am so hungry.
So
I'm so hungry.
in Rift and pretty much most MMOs that have any kind of linear plot that goes along as you travel through stuff, yes, if you're in Duskin, there is a time period, sort of unspecified, for your adventures in Duskin, and when you are done with that, time has passed. And that also means that, like, if you were to go through Scarlet Gorge and you kill all the devils and you get rid of the Endless Court or the Golden Maw, they should be gone when you come back, and people are starting to get back to their normal lives because you, the hero, came through and made a difference. But that is hard to do, and in MMOs, especially if we want you to go back there and re-adventure, and we don't want to remove the content.
Right.
That is the core gameplay.
Okay.
So that's part of your matter, and I think a lot of Dimensioneers have been good trying to represent that. Oh, what is Mythosia? What was Mythosia like? What is Ardenburg like before all the war happened? Or what is it like in Stillmore now that we've redeemed it and we've got rid of the Endless Court? How do people start getting their lives back together? What would it look like?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So yeah.
And again, we're on the questions by Lorska and Mizuki Ayu at the moment, and we still have a lot to get through, and I'm looking at the time here, so we're going to speed up. From a logic standpoint, I understand reusing awesome models, but from a lore standpoint, why are there aggressive Shalistiri, not counting Simulacra of course, when the ancient Shalistiri were so open to aiding Talarans?
The production answer is, if I am going to request a model, I need to find ways to use every part of it, and that generally includes combat. From a lore perspective, I think the ancient Shalistiri were great in resisting the taint of evil, and then evil got more powerful.
So they can be corrupted now. That makes a very sad amount of perfect sense. When an NPC comments that the Ascended cannot win, The usual banter is to state that we've stopped the Bloodstorm, finished off the Akvan, etc. But there is usually no mention of Teth, who by an expansion view is small, but story-wise rather large, especially for the bombing. What is the reason that a rather larger victory for the Wilds is blown off, not mentioned as much?
By the Alaviax Devils or the Chuathde, they're more concerned with Mailforge and Greenscale and the threats that they know that the Ascended have fought. Whereas Teth is not as well known to them because they were not in the wilds with him. And the other main reason is we've talked a lot about the Bloodstorm in the leveling up, so everyone knows who they are. Not everyone has gone to the wilds, and when we release an expansion like Prophecy of Anket, when people return to it, as they often do, they may have skipped it. So I choose to use the more well-known names than reference Teth, who was a bit of an experiment to see about my weird ideas about the Tenebrians would resonate, which it did, which is why we got Anket. So as we go on, we will be definitely mentioning more and more of the Tenebrians that we fought as you fight more of them.
Okay. And Bugsuit, put your burning question in the chat. We are watching the chat. In the meantime, Bucket of Chicken wants to know, will we ever see the origin of the Tenebrians, maybe in a sliver?
God, I would love to.
Would love to. It's all a matter of time.
Let's see if I can. Yeah, I would love to. I don't know if I can represent it well, considering it's so cosmic.
Well, maybe it's
So cosmic. Can I represent stars that have burnt out and become iron spheres throughout a dead universe? Is that
I bet it's possible.
possible?
I bet it's possible.
I think we will, but I think we're going to have to go on a journey before we can get to that and start flashing back trillions and trillions of years.
Here's an easier question for you. Are the bull statues seen throughout Alitu and the Tenebrian Schism important to either Ankhet or the mages of Alitu?
That is part of the culture that the mages of Alitu are from.
And what is the significance of the bull? Is it a representative of an ancient god?
It's a symbol. It's a power symbol. It's a knowledge, a royalty symbol. It harkens back to the how old their culture was. Mm-hmm. It was as if Babylonians were still had a straight through line of their culture.
Okay. And Bugsuit has asked the question here. My one question is really dumb, but is Stavil Rosso meant to be a Kalari with just a reused regular elf model? Or could he be a high elf who defected to the Defiance? Or, was that ever decided or not? I know he's seriously minor, but he's great.
Okay, so, the production answer is when Stavil...
So there's always two answers.
No, there is.
Okay, this has to go in game, and you have to come up with, and this is why. Yeah,
because when Stavil was chosen, and the model was chosen, we did not have very many Kalari models. If you've been playing for a long time, you will remember when Anthusa had a different model, because it was just picked from the Elven models we had and tried to tint it correctly. So Stavil's model actually predates the design of the Kalari. And so it is, as you have pointed out, a high elf that was kind of tinted.
Got it. Okay.
I believe he is intended to be a Kalari, but I will have to dig into it.
Okay, let's see. In game, each model of pet class creatures look the same except for extra skins that are bought. But lore-wise, are those creatures copies of the relevant soul's original companion, or do they change and alter dependent on the ascendant who calls upon them? Especially beastmasters who share a deeper bond than other pet classes.
So I think that getting a pet skin shows that you're following a slightly different tradition. I have really enjoyed the fact that I can have a necromancer can have all those Bach as their pets. I think that's fantastic. And so I kind of view it as the necromancer has learned kind of a bit of a geomancy with it and has started summoning up these undead, earth-attuned spirits. And oh, hey, what's going on here? Suddenly floating dwarf. And with like rangers, you can tame the Cadlu, or druid could summon the moth and the spirit. Those are different traditions. So they have no gameplay effect, but it is definitely, I think, lore-wise, it is them playing around with spells.
Okay.
And if it comes from your different experience of what pet that you've actually gone out and tamed, or if you've learned new ways to make new spells, that's great.
So if we ever do another lore stream, it's going to have to be a 2-hour one. And I'll ram through the rest of these. Cloud wants to know, is Carly's condensing of Kazith's essence similar to the idea that when the dragons were killed, motes of their power spread throughout the world?
Yes.
Okay. Easy.
I'm trying to speed it up.
That's great. Okay.
I'm just going to go quick.
Since Ascended gain power throughout their quests, battling gods and such, does their power translate into raw physical strength? Is it possible to see an angry, tiny, non-martial elf huck a car-sized tree if needed?
Yeah. The amount of strength that one has on your equipment. How much strength? I know I'm probably super dexterous.
You're super sheepy.
I'm super sheepy. But like, where's my strength? Doesn't
Meanwhile,
even show.
Sparklin wants to know, is there a possibility
626. When I started with like a normal person would have like a 20 or something. So yeah, I'm hucking cars. I'm hucking trees if I could pick it up.
Sparklin wants to know, is there a possibility that a lore book for Rift will be put together? I'm hoping that the lore masters among you will put this stuff together.
Yes.
It would be amazing.
So to put a lore book together would mean we would stop making content for the game, which people would not like.
Right, okay. So if you guys can help us out with that, that would be fantastic. Does the ancient bond that elves once shared with animals and fae mean that the elves were vegetarian?
I don't think lots of cultures that have bonds with nature necessarily don't eat meat. They generally thank the creatures that gave of themselves to feed them, and have an understanding that there is a cycle, and what one takes, one also has to give back.
We're going to be in a lot of trouble if we don't get out of here soon, so I've skipped one question that we'll try to get answered on the forums, but here's one special for you.
Oh no, uh-oh.
Thanks, Mizuki Ayu and Lorska. This is the best ever. How are planar fragments applied lore-wise? Do we get special gear for them? Are they absorbed through the skin, a la Final Fantasy Advent Children? Or are they simply really awkward suppositories?
I think that just everyone gets to play, gets 12-sided dice, and they just start rolling them. Okay. What do I get? Oh, no. Oh, they're magic.
Oh, I don't want to stick it in my ear.
Magic dice.
Oh, man.
Oh, I didn't sock it in any. Speaking of magic
so we're
dice.
going to have the draws soon. You do not have to put an X in the stream. If you've said anything within the last 40 minutes, you will automatically be...
There we go.
Yeah, if you guys
Here's
want
my
to use
magic
suppositories...
die. Is that where you keep your dice? Really? You're 12-sided?
Well,
it's so good we didn't make them D4s.
No, stop it.
Goodness, people.
Okay. Oh, all right, so we're going to roll for the 3 intermediate packs.
By the way, I'm having a lot of fun playing this Predator. I'm just saying that.
we all agree that Intermediate Pack is the lamest name ever for a pack of goodness in Rift. I mean, it's the... this is
who
the
named
more
it?
or less... I don't know. I think they probably couldn't come up with a name before it had to go out. So it's like... Okay, so it's a sort of adequate pack. It's a kind of decent pack.
It's a not terrible pack.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. It's
I don't
pretty
hate it.
good. Not bad. You can't complain. Okay, so we're going to have 3 of those, and let's quickly draw 3 names, which Cole will read out for us.
We got Freaky One,
Freaky one!
71,
Freaky 171.
Veldas,
Veldas.
Congratulations.
and Frizzwin.
Now, if you already...
Frizzwin?
Frizzwin. If you guys already have the Intermediate Pack, make some friends. Give them away. Yes, you can sell them for in-game plat. Yeah. But why not give it to a friend? Give it to somebody nice. Okay, so next up we're going to draw for the 3 Armored Ethereal Drakes. I don't know if you've seen these yet. They're really beautiful. And they're currently available only in lockboxes. At some time in the future, of course, they may be offered on one of Arconix's flash sales on the site. But right now, very rare, lockbox only. So, 3 Armored Ethereal Drakes. Who wins
that was
those,
a player.
Cole?
We got $BR, RDY, HS, and Natia.
Natia.
Natia _ So RDYHS, is that Ready High School? We don't know.
I like Natia because it's an actual name.
Yeah, okay, so congratulations to the winners of the Drakes. Those are really terrific. And, okay, so let's see. I don't see anybody standing outside of the door, so I'm
we'll
going to
just
quickly
keep
get
going.
through possible future content. Are the Shapers still a thing? Now that Reggie is dead, where are they?
Oh, the Shapers are still a thing. I think many of them went to the plane of death, and as soon as we get back to a giant's limbic system as an adventuring location, we will run into them again.
Cool. Hey, Cole, can you do me a favor and quickly pull up 5 winners for snails as well? And again, the snails, if you already have the snail mount, give it to a friend. All right.
Oh my god!
Meanwhile, at the end of the Gedlo Badlands storyline, we see the kobolds of St. Tyrannus be ascended by the Vigil. Spoilers!
Spoiler
I
alert!
haven't even got there yet! This suggests that the Vigil can make new Guardian Ascended. Defiants were ascended via a machine involving some sort of dimensional time travel. Since all the Defiants presumably showed up at once in the main timeline, does this mean there's a limited number of Defiant Ascended and a theoretical unlimited number of Guardian Ascended? Or were the Kobolds ascended by another Tenebrian force unknowingly? Or did the Defiant Ascended come back in time with a post-it note on how to make new Ascended?
They did give the research that Silver sent with you. So they just haven't finished the research, which presumably doesn't happen until Terminus, but that never happens. So obviously it'll be sometime in the future where they will discover how to do it. But since their research involved taking a puree machine with Guardians to make Defiant ones, maybe the Guardians won't agree to that now that they're all friends. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. I have no idea what he just said. Does anybody know what he just said?
The kobolds were not the kobolds were not ascended by some kind of weird Tenebrian.
Will our corrupted souls from the Ashenfell storyline come up again? Will it connect to the corruption Taswil has to face?
Oh, anytime with fire, it's going to be corruption of your soul. Just
okay. And last one.
Get
We're
used to
totally
that
going to
note.
cram this in here, and then we'll read off the 5 winners of the snails. Gedlo Badlands and Ashenfell were very Vigil-based storylines. Cyril and the Vigil steal the spotlight, while Asha is practically hidden behind a bookcase.
oh, she totally
True story.
is. She totally
My
is.
guardian felt right to be there, but my non-religious Defiant felt like a placeholder. Will there be more Defiant-centric stories coming up?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. I agree.
Okay.
It's almost like I portioned out which people were going to be, and then we production-wise.
Our thanks again to Mizuki Ayu and Lorska, as well as Dark Respite, whom some know as Samuraiko, for their help with this. And the 5 snail mount winners are Potato Lover 771, Devastron, Pyroka, Angles Pod, English Foot, really? C. Bradfield. Congratulations for your snails, guys. Give them away to people who deserve them if you already have one. Thank you, Captain Cursor. I can't believe we got through all these questions.
Woohoo!
We're done. We're out of here. Okay, Trove is up next. Bye!
Bye-bye!